Rita Kleinfeld Fowell, and I'm deafblind. I have lived with my disability for many years, and because of ongoing discrimination from a young child, I went into the legal profession. I am now a lawyer, and I head up a disability practice department in a community law centre. I manage about 15 staff, including lawyers. Our work is around disability rights. So we do advocacy and we do disability discrimination cases. And we are the only law centre that deliver disability discrimination rights. I'm also quite involved with the government from a state and a federal, trying to raise awareness around systemic issues for all people with disabilities. I've been involved with the deafblind community for a long, long time, and I was the chairperson until the beautiful Hannah took over, and she's doing a wonderful job. Thank you, Hannah. So it's important, like the Deafblind WA, we're not just here to socialise and do crafts. We've done some major projects in the past. So we all actively got involved with the Disability Royal Commission, and we had a voice in those submissions. We also took the NDIS to the Australian Human Rights Commission around the interpretation of deafblind and the failure to make reasonable adjustments for our community. And we had a good outcome for that. We now have the identification of being deafblind, not deaf, not blind, deafblind, because that's what we are. That's our dual disability. So I'm going to start. I'll read from my phone if that's okay. Leave your questions till the end, and then both Hannah and I will answer them as best as we can. It is a very new thing that's come out. So the aim of the changes around the NDIS. So there's a few critical adjustments to this. Having researched it, it gives a broader definition of eligibility support, which means whether you would qualify for certain support. It also consolidates budget and summaries rather than have itemised plans and the stricter compliance measures for service providers. So you remember Hannah said our funding will look more broad, so we'll have more flexible funding, and it's probably in a larger lump sum, and it gives us more freedom. This has come around because disability service providers have rotated, or that means abused the NDIS funding. Not all service providers. You know, centres are very good. They centred visibility for our community. They're very good, but the service providers out there that have abused the system. So, as I said, it's effective from the 3rd of October 2024, and the aim around it is to simplify funding, to make it simple and not to make it complex, improve support accessibility, and enhance participants' rights. So your rights, so it's giving you more powers and enhancing your basic rights. community, these are the positives. Now we have to, the NDIS is a wonderful thing. It's not perfect, but we have to have a voice. All of us, not one, all of us. So for the positives for the deafblind, so it's flexible funding. The shift to a broader funding structure allows participants more freedom to allocate resources as needed, which can help the deafblind individuals to customise their plans. And this is customise their plans more easily for specific communication and support needs. Now we all know the deafblind community have dual sensory losses. We're not like the blind community, we're not like the deaf community. Our needs are a lot higher, the threshold is a lot higher. So that's the good thing, that we can customise our funding to suit our needs. It also enhances accessibility and streamlining. The simplified plan format reduces administrative hurdles, which is a positive step for self-management. So if you're self-managing part of your plan, it's a positive step, because there won't be a lot of administration and it should be more easy and straightforward. More important, the provider, the NDIS providers, like sensors and visibility and all those service providers out there, they have to be compliant and of quality standards, ensuring that deafblind individuals receive reliable, competent support tailored to meet their needs, such as tactile interpreters and adaptive technologies. So some of us use tactile interpreters. It's important that we have that support, because we can't see Linda signing because we're blind, and we can't hear Linda, so we need the tactile interpreters. These improvements aim to make the NDIS more responsive to participants' specific challenges, aligning the support more closely with individuals' goals and needs. So it all links back to your goals and what your needs are. Right, now that's the positive. As a lawyer, I look at both sides. I think, not all good. What are the problems going to be? And it's right at the beginning. So we're all learning, like Hannah said, it's right at the beginning, and you have got to flag these issues up to our deafblind community. Okay. So we need to be aware. We're on the right slide? Yeah. We need to be aware. Whilst the budget is flexible, the flexibility can benefit the deafblind participants by allowing more tailored support. However, there is a concern within the advocacy group about potential limitations in specialised services. For example, Deafblind Australia had noted that the community needs clear assurances that specialised communication and support services will remain accessible and suitably funded under the revised guidelines. Well, the NDIS are already messed up with the video. You can't enhance the captions. I couldn't even follow the person that was speaking. It was too complex. That's not for our community. Well, don't worry, I'll go back and tell them.
You do that.
I'm like a dog with a bone. Two dogs right on the bone. I don't let go. Those challenges. Are we on challenges? Challenges?
Yes.
Okay. NDIS support is trying to move toward greater accessibility, and this includes online resources and webinars tailored for people with deaflines. Well, they've already failed with the video.
Online resources not working.
For people who are deafblinded. Ensuring that critical information remains accessible via videos, outlines, and written format. Oh my God! However, accessibility challenges persist. It will continue to carry on, particularly around complexity of NDIS navigation and consistency in specialised interpreters availability. Recent advocacy efforts have also highlighted the need for enhanced legal protection to ensure that deafblind individuals can fully utilise these services, emphasising the critical role of communication accessibility in exercising the rights under the law, your human rights under the law. That is the legislation that prevails. So, can we turn to the law bit? Now, I'm not going to bore you like a typical lawyer. I will dress it up and make it fun. And I'll give some examples. So, the law. We know that the NDIS must provide reasonable and necessary support. But this is under the National Disability Insurance Scheme Act 2013. Reasonable and necessary, that is the heart of this legislation. What's reasonable and what's necessary? The NDIS must offer cost-effective, beneficial and directly related to a person's disability needs. Number 2, the NDIS Quality and Safeguarding Commission. This is a regulating body under the NDIS Act, which enforces standards for service providers, especially in services that affect communication and mobility. And the very important one is the Disability Discrimination Act ensures that services are accessible, and this is under goods and services, and that people with disabilities have equal rights to participate in society. This includes the right to accessible communication, reasonable accommodations or reasonable adjustment, and non-discriminatory access to an NDIS service. This should align with Australia's obligations under the United Nations Convention on the Rights of the Person with Disabilities. Now going forward, individual issues, news of the community. So I guess going forward, we're a small community. We're quite unique because we've got unique disabilities, okay? Now going forward, like we did with the Disability Royal Commission, like we did when we challenged the NDIS about the definition of deafblind and putting the appropriate services in for odd-blind interpreters, and by the way, Linda started all this off. And going forward, individual issues. Use the community law centres like Midland, Dudley Street, legal aid, and so forth. Address the systemic issues, and I'm sure the likes of Karen, Hannah, Erica, Linda will be keeping a close eye on the systemic issues. At the moment, I'm working with a consultant that's actually being paid by people with disabilities, WA, and they're writing a submission paper which I will draft and send to Karen so that she can, she can add our comments or our concerns for our deafblind community. So systemic issues. We need to work on how to improve the funding clarity and how they address the specific needs. NDIS are uncertain about how well they address specific needs for deafblind participants. They don't understand deafblindness. They do not understand this. They seem to think that we either fit under being blind or deaf. So these would also include things and items such as personalised interpreters, mobility support, and assistive technology. Now I'll give you a couple of examples, okay? And I do envision, particularly for our community, that there will be legal challenges. I can only visualise for our community. I'm sure there will be for the deaf community, the blind community, and so forth in different groups. But I'm concerned that one of the things that and correct me if I'm wrong, they're no longer going to fund Ogland lessons. So I have an AAT case going through to a full hearing, and it's around a person who is deaf, and she just got married, she's due to have a baby, and she asked for Ausland lessons for her husband, and they said no. So that's going to a full hearing. Because what they're saying is that the husband can go and access it in mainstream services and online. One of the things I also picked up as well is like the specialised report. So for example, I have taken up ballroom dancing, and so that's been my childhood dream, to take up ballroom dancing, and that's how I've gone into ballroom fit with Daryl and Jenny, and I love it. It's improved my mental health, my fitness, I've lost weight, I meet people, and I'm just worried that they're going to say, no, we're not going to fund that. I'm also worried that, for example, if they say, oh yeah, we'll fund your phone, but you won't need a support worker to read the information. Well, you know yourself that you might get a bill in, or you might get a letter in hard print, hard copy, and you can't read it on your phone, so you still need that additional support. It's very, very unclear at the moment, and things will only flag up as we go along. But I will leave you with this thought. The likes of myself, Karen, Linda, all those people that campaign and volunteer, Erica, to better our rights, we can't continue to do this long term. The younger generation of deafblindness people and our existing community have to be proactive So if you have any issues, or we want you to take part in a consultation, come along. This is how we did the Disability Royal Commission. This is how we changed the definition to get the definition of deaf blindness. You have to be proactive in changing the law to better your basic human rights. I'm going to end with this quote, and I'm sure some of you know what it is. Helen Keller, who was a deafblind American, and she did a lot of advocacy work in America, and one of her famous quotes is, "Alone, we can achieve nothing. Together, we can achieve so much more." We will give you the information. Information is power. If you feel that your human rights are being breached, do something about it. Have a voice and come to the appropriate people. We'll go to the government and we'll lobby. And that's all for me. Thank you.
Thank you, Rita. Love you, Rita.
I don't think I'm going to be, I was thinking about retiring in about 12 months, but I don't think I will be now.
I retired 7 months ago, Rita, and I've never worked harder in my bloody life.
I know.
So good luck with that.